Hello, it's I Just Packs Made. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time joining, welcome. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for sticking with me. Today I'm going to be doing a detailed tutorial on this transparent corsets, and also this can also apply to your dartless corsets. All right, without further ado, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. Let's get started. So first off, for this transparent corset, I'm going to be working with a crinoline mesh and a two nets, like what we call the skin net. So I'm going to be working with the skin net and the crinoline mesh. That is because I do not want any parts of my client's body to show. I actually want this corset to be as decent as possible. Now you can actually decide to work with only the skin nets or only the crinoline mesh, whichever works for you. And then I'm going to be working with a push-up bra cup. Now this particular bra cup I'm working with, you can find it anywhere in the market, and if you zoom in, you'll be able to see the measurements that we're working with. For my client is bust 36 and her waist is waist 32. All right, let's get started. So as usual, if you follow my videos, you know that for my base pattern, my basic pattern, I usually come down by 1 inch to get a baseline. Yes, so you can do ½ inches, you can work with your pattern paper from the tip, but for me, I love to come down by 1 inch. So after getting my baseline, I'm going to be showing you an easy way on how to get your perfect cup size. So first off, you have to know your bust span. Your bust span simply means your nipple to nipple point. So now you're going to take your tape and measure around the cup. If it fits your nipple to nipple span, then you're going to measure your under wire. That is your bra under wire, how wide it goes, and then you're going to be measuring your nipple point to your under bust point, and then your nipple point to your above chest point, how covered you want your cup to be. I hope this little detail, helps influence you when you're choosing your cup size. Remember that just because you're a bust 36 doesn't mean that cup 36 will fit your bust. So I went ahead to mark my client's shoulder, and then I came down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope, and I'll go ahead and just connect it to my neck width 1 inches and connecting it to my basic neck width, which is 3 inches. Next thing I'm going to do is to mark my front length, which is my shoulder to my waist length. Okay. Now, after doing that, I'll just go ahead and calculate my chest points. So I got 8.5 for my chest point. So I'll simply take my tape and then mark my 8.5. Now, after marking this 8.5, I'll go ahead and spread it all the way to the back bodice. That is my back block, because our corset is equal lengths on the front and on the back bodies. When it comes to your chest point, there's no differences. Okay, so I just went ahead to create the connection from the back to the front, and then when I was done, I went ahead to mark my bust point length, which is 10 inches only on my front bodies. And after doing that, I went ahead to mark my shoulder to under bust point length, and which is also only on my front bodies. Okay, and then I now went ahead to mark my shoulder to waist. Yes, my shoulder to waist, which I connected from the front to the back, because our front and back has the same waist length, especially because we are working on a dartless corset. Okay, now the next measurement I'm going to be taking is my waist to hip length. For my clients, I'm using a hip length of 10 inches. Yes, please. And I'm going to be using a pencil to rule out this hip length, because I just need the imaginary line as a guide for when I'm connecting my corsets the corset parts. Okay, I just need it as a guide to give me that, that curvy kind of shape. Now when I'm done with that, I'm going to be imputing my corset length, and from my waist down I have 4 inches. Now usually your corset length is between 4 to 6 inches from your waist. Okay, so do take note that anything longer than that means that maybe the person has a really special body type. I mean, very curvy and very tall or gigantic. Yes, because we do not want our corset to be too long so that you can sit comfortably. Now when I went ahead to mark my corset length, remember that I connected it also reaching the back pattern. I'll go ahead and just label all the parts so it can be easy for everyone to follow. Okay, if you've watched this video so far and you're understanding everything I'm doing, please do let me know in the comment section, and don't forget to share this video. Now I went down to bring down my shoulder point to my chest points, just so that I will create my armhole curve. So then I went ahead to do my bust divided by 4, and then I marked it. And then remember that for this corset, we are going to be taking out 3 to 4 inches off our original waist. So that means that if my waist is 30, I'm taking out 4 inches. Okay, if my waist is 29, I'm taking out 4 inches. Okay, and then when I'm done with that, I'll go ahead and mark my hip point. Remember that I said it's an imaginary line, just so that it can guide us to get a good curve at the corset length point. Okay, so when I'm done, I'll go ahead and just complete my pattern by connecting my bust to waist and my waist to my corset hem. Then I'll go ahead and get the midpoint of my shoulder line and create an armhole curve. All right, let me know if you followed up to this point. Okay, now also, if you're doing just a dartless corset without using a skin net, skin net is stretchy, I would advise that you take out at least 3 inches from your original waist. Remember, 3 inches from the original waist. Okay, so that's a total of 30 minus 3 divided by 4 will be what you'll be taking out. All right, so after that, let me just go ahead and show you this other pattern of a push-up bra cup. So we have the one that is the nude like, which is not really rampant in the market, and then we have the white, which is everywhere in the market. Okay, so whichever one you get is fine. So far you can determine how covered it should be on your body. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is to find my cleavage point. Now you can either come down by 6, by 5, depending on how covered you want your cup to be. Okay, and then you come in by 1/2 inch. So from your cleavage point, from wherever you choose as your cleavage point, you're going to be coming in by 1/2 inch, and then connecting that 1/2 inch point also to your underbust point. So for me, the 6 inches didn't work, so I extended it to 6.5 inches, came in by 1/2 inch on that point, and then went to my underbust line and also came in by 1/2 inch. Okay, so when I was satisfied with what I did, I went ahead to just place the 2 cups so that you see how it looks. Okay, now for most cups, you may not actually touch the underbust points. You can actually go up by at least 1/2 inch from your underbust point, or 0.75. Please, it should not exceed going up by 0.75. Now for this white cup, it is big enough for my client's bust, so I'll just go ahead and just trace out what I have. Now your cup doesn't have to be straight, it can be curved, it can tilt a bit. It doesn't have to be straight and facing up. Yes, it's allowed, but it doesn't mean that if you want to face it up and it fits and laps well, you cannot go with the flow. Please do, by all means. Then I'll be coming down on my armhole side by 1/2 inch. That is because I want to create a yoke with this pattern. Yes, I want to create a yoke with this pattern, so I came down by 1/2 inch. Then I went back to place my cup just to see if I could make 1 or 2 adjustments, which I did. Yes, which I did. So I'll go back to finish up my back pattern. Remember, we put our shoulder, we come down by 1 inch to create a shoulder slope, and then bring our chest point down. Basically everything you did in front, you're going to do it at the back pattern, at the back block. And then I'll be putting my bust divided by 4 on our chest line. I'm going to be putting the waist measurement we calculate. Remember that we subtracted 4 inches from our initial waist. Okay, so divided by 4, and then I'll go ahead and just connect to my hem line. Okay, so everything I did on the front, I'm going to be transferring to the back. Now I realized that I needed to make the hem part a bit curvy so that it will not be so tight around the the hem area of the top. So I just went ahead to just create that curve, and then went ahead to finish up my back pattern by creating my armhole curve. Okay, now don't forget that on the front pattern we came down by 1/2 inch to make our yoke, right? You're going to repeat the exact same thing. So after doing that, we want to create our lacing bar channel. So I'll be coming in by 2 inches on my chest point, and then coming in by 1/2 inch on my corset length point, which is our corset hem points. Okay, and then when I'm done, I will just create that connection to touch the 1/2 inch that we came down from. And then I'll go back to just finish up my back neck. Remember that I did not touch that, so I'll just go ahead and just complete it. And now for your back yoke, please feel free, whatever design you want to work with, whatever style of yoke you want to use for your back, it is totally up to you, up to your client, up to whatever preference that you choose to work with. Okay, now when I was done with this, I went ahead to just mark out the buttonhole areas, the button placements, what it will look like, and then I went back to my lacing bar. So you remember that on our lacing bar, on the chest part we came in by 2 inches, and on the hem part we came out by 1/2 inch. I'm going to further come out again by 1.5 inch. Now that is because of the boning channels I'll be fixing in. My boning channel is going to fit into the 1.5 inch. Okay, so now you can do 1.8, you can do a total of 2 inches, depends on how big your bonings will be. Okay, all right. So at this point we are done drafting our pattern. I hope you learned a lot from this class. Okay, but we are not going yet. We're going to be transferring this pattern to the fabric. Because I need this pattern for my yoke, I will just go ahead and finish up the yoke area. Yes, because I'll be using my cup to finish it up so that I can know what my yoke will look like. So after marking with my pencil, I use my marker pen to trace out my complete yoke, and here we have our front yoke ready. So after getting the front yoke ready, I just thought that the 3x3 will be too choking on my client, so I just went ahead to deepen it to 4 inches. Yes, because I want her to be as comfortable as possible. Then I came down by 0.2 inches on this shoulder point, and I did the same thing at the back. Now this is totally optional, because if you're draping, there's no need for it since you're going to be draping on the client directly, but I wasn't sure my client will come for fitting, so I just had to do it that way so that I could maneuver it and work with it as it was. Okay, now I'm just showing you how to do this if you were working with a V neckline, but not to worry, I will do a video on how to do a V neck or a plunge neck corset soon. So now I just went ahead to just cut out every pieces of this pattern because we want to transfer it to our pattern, to our main fabric. Let me know if you learned a thing or two. Let me know if this video was helpful to you, because it will mean a whole lot to me. And Don't forget that this is more like a transparent corset series, or you call it a dartless corset series. So stay glued and make sure that you are subscribed to this channel. Now I'll go ahead to just place my corset mesh. After giving it a good press, I'll place my pattern onto my corset mesh and then go ahead and trace out half an inch on this upper layer, and then 0.75 or 1 inch on where our cup will sit, while on the sides of the pattern I'm going to be tracing out half inch. Yes, half inch on the sides of my pattern. Now the reason why we are doing this 1 inch or 0.75 on this cup area will be explained in the other classes. That is when it's time to sew and when it's time to prepare our cup. That is why you should not miss this series, because I cannot compress everything in this one video. We will all be confused and tired, and the video will be too long. Yes, so that is why. Also, for my corset top, I decided to give it a curve, like a blouse curve, just so that it will not be straight all the way down. But it doesn't mean that if it is straight all the way down, there's anything wrong with it. No dear, it will still work just fine. It will still be perfect. Okay, I just decided to just give it the corset curve by coming up by half an inch, on the main hemline, just so that it will just give it a a more relaxed blouse shape. Now when I'm done, I went ahead to just cut out my fabric. Yes, like so. I went ahead to cut out my fabric, and then I went ahead to transfer to my pattern. Now don't forget that you can use just your corset mesh, or you can use many layers of your skein net to achieve this transparent corset. Yes. All right, so I'll just go ahead and just do the same thing to the sides of these back bodies. I'll do half an inch. To the upper part, I'll do half an inch, or you can do 0.75. It depends on you. And then on the lower part, I did not want to add an allowance on the lower part because I already added an allowance on the pattern. Yes, I added the allowance on the pattern. I ended up using 4.5 instead of 4 inches for the corset length, so it was already added. Now I'm going to be using these skein nets and duplicating it on all of the pattern, the fabric that I cut out. All right, designers, thank you for watching so far. This is just the part 1 of this transparent corset. Try not to miss the rest of the parts. See you on my next video, and let me know if this video was helpful. Bye.